I took a loss on my Bitcoin long trade. And I feel this losing trade is a wonderful opportunity to review this trade. What went wrong? What I could have done better? And what lessons am I taking away from this? I have a responsibility as a educator, mentor, and public trader that when I take a loss, I want to absolutely acknowledge that publicly. A lot of traders here on YouTube or on Twitter and that they will only ever talk about their wins. They will never take losses, apparently, right? And so it's obviously never going to happen. We're always going to take losses. And so I have that responsibility as a public trader. But on top of that, from trader to trader, we have to acknowledge the losses and learn from them. We do not want to take a loss and just move on like nothing's happened. No, we want to really take some time to recap that. So I will do this all of the time in my own time. And I felt this will be a wonderful opportunity to come onto the YouTube video, talk you through what I've learned from this, what I could have done better, and the lessons I'm taking away. Because I am a very high win rate trader, so it's not every day I'm taking these losses. So this is a wonderful opportunity to go through this together in the time. So let's start off first of all with the long that I took yesterday and how this has resulted in a losing trade, which I really could have avoided it. So there was some big lessons to take away on this one. So first of all, the actual long trade itself, this resulted yesterday. It was actually a long that I took around 4 a.m. UK time. So I need to avoid these 4 a.m. longs. But anyway, we had the large wick to the downside from Nvidia earnings. I did not catch the long on this move. And so I was remaining patient for a setup to form. And that setup formed early morning of UK hours. As we came down and we done this trade setup, which is known as fill the wick. So this is a strategy in itself where you have long wicks to the downside. Never ever going to be a fan of longing a very big wick. You're too late for the move. But what you do is you have this strategy known as fill the wick. Price leaves a very large wick to the downside. You wait patiently for price to come down to the low of that wick, fill that wick, and that in itself is a long trade setup. But I will never be keen on longing just one thing. I wanted to see a little bit of confluence here. And what I had was, well, the fill the wick, which is a nice long trade setup, of course, but we had the market structure. So I'm aiming for the higher low to be held. So of course we have from low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Well, this is the level that we want to be seeing the higher low hold. So we had the market structure, fill the wick into the CC Fibonacci. And the number one important that I had on this long was the order flow, because in the order flow here, into the low of the wick, in the absolute wick of this candle, we had around 17 million new shorts open. So I got into my entry around 111,500. So I saw the move off the back of this. I saw of course, at the time, we are then leaving a lot of trapped shorts into the low. We've filled the wick. I'm expecting continuation to the upside with the market structure ongoing. And in that sense, I was correct. We did get another move to the upside. And actually, from the low of filling the wick to the high, we're talking about nearly 2.5% move. And so in hindsight, this should not have been, I should not have let myself get into a position where this ended in a loss. And I think, well, now I want to explain what went wrong. What did I misread? What can I learn from this? And again, where we rejected from was not for me a random point. It's not like we come up to this level and I could have said today, well, I don't even know what we rejected from. I will always say there's never a random pivot. And the level that we rejected from is exactly what I was talking you through in yesterday's video. We were at that range value area high. It's just I was expecting a break through this value area high. But in hindsight, of course, we gone from, and then this is, I kind of shoot myself here because, yeah, it's a little bit annoying because I really, and again, hindsight is lovely, but I could have looked in a take profit here because what does the market love to do? We can see here we have we have a bit of a local range that we've got going on, right? Loss of you can see here the value area low, lost, back tested as resistance, reclaimed. We go from value area low above the point of control, back testing the point of control. Where do we go next? To the value area high. We were wicking onto the value area high, unable to clear it. At this point, I could have I've done one of two things: took a short trade from the value area high, or just what I should have done really here is locked in a take profit one on the long trade from the value area high. Because just as the market loves to go sideways. We rotate from value area low to value area high. And what happened next? Well, we started to get the breakdown where to off of value area high down towards, well, where we've already gone down through now towards that value area low. So again, in hindsight, big disappointment of not being able to clear that range value area high, but at least I'm not left thinking, what went on here? Why did Bitcoin fall down? Well, I do know it was unable to clear the range value area high. So what went wrong here in my analysis, and what can I learn from this? Well, step number one is I really should have protected myself doing one of two things. Number one, really simple, locking in a take profit at the value area high. That is a significant level. The reason I did not long, very important to say here, I was not longing into the value area high. That is a trade I would never, ever, ever do. Right? My long trade was taken on the low of the pullback. Okay, so yeah, would never long into the value area high. But a reason why I was looking for higher is because I did feel it was a low confluence level. And I also felt Bitcoin locally had the strength to make its way up to the range high. So again, I missed the take profit by what we're talking about here, 0.3%. If it had come up and hit that, just $300 higher, I would have taken a take profit one. So we could say it come down to a little bit of greed. Okay. Of course, it's very easy to say in hindsight, but I was expecting us to break through that value area high. But what I need to say is there was no real, of course, we had the confluence at this value area high, and this is what I was saying yesterday in the YouTube video. This was choppy price action. This was difficult to read, really, because we were into the gap and then we were back down below. We were into the gap, we were back down below. We were into the gap, we were back down below. This was neither acceptance or a rejection. This was just very difficult to read price action. And this is, I spent, a good 5 minutes explaining this in yesterday's video. That this is not acceptance into the gap, but it's neither a rejection for me here. This is just something that I do not want to trade. I wasn't interested in taking, of course, never would be interested in taking a long off the back of this move, but I didn't want to take the short either because for me, it was a little bit too much of a 50-50 type trade. Today, we absolutely at this point could have woken up to another move to the upside. We've woken up to a move to the downside. It's just one of those things. This was a hard to read price action. Again, I'm sure somebody can post a print screen of a short trade, but at the end of the day, I would still argue that this was a difficult short trade to have taken. What could have I done better though? Well, upon seeing the breakdown here, upon seeing the actual strong breakdown, okay, at this point, I could have done one of two things. This, I would say, then is an acceptable short. Why? Because you have then got a rejection from the value area high. You've lost market structure. Well, then you have the clearer, an actual short trade setup. On top of that, I could have at least closed my long here. So that was my mistake. Seeing the breakdown and not actually taking the short trade. What I would say is in my defense, I do still have short trades running on Ethereum. I do still have short trades running on Bitcoin. So this was the long trade that I was in yesterday. But what's important to acknowledge is that I still have my short trades open from the failed auction of all-time high, and I'm only closing that if we get above 121. Of course, I hit my take profit one, but I'm not closing that short. Same on Ethereum. I've got my stop loss at entry. So yeah, we pulled back, and this is where I would say if I was not in any short trades at all, then I would have to be more aggressive on the short. But because I have this luxury position, we could call it, of being in several short trades, I was not aggressive on the short there. And again, this is where, our personal trades are important. Okay, we're not all holding the same trades, and so we all got to acknowledge, right? But apart from that, I must say on a review of the trade, was it a bad long? No, absolutely not. Actually, it was a very technical long. We got nearly a 2.5% rise to the upside. So the actual long theory was correct. What went wrong for me was not locking in a take profit at the value area high, not taking the short after the loss of market structure and a clear rejection from the value area high and a clear rejection from the gap. Okay, so that ended in a chop, but a rejection in the end. And so what I could have improved upon was a better reaction to the loss of the market structure. Again, I do say it's very easy to say that in hindsight, but I really should have adjusted at the time. The good thing is here, I got out with a relatively minor loss. Right, I'm not holding on to my long. I'm not holding on to my long. I'm not holding on for dear. Now, this is the important thing, right? When you get invalidated on the trade, get out of the trade. My stop loss was hit. Okay, actually, while I was asleep, my stop loss is here. I'm not here today saying, "Well, I'm in a massive loss right now. I'm just holding on for the best." No, I've already, I've took that loss. I've acknowledged the loss. I've now with you reviewed that loss. What went wrong? Well, I misread the strength here. I was looking for the range high. In the end, what we've done, we rejected from the value area high. I should have locked in a take profit at that value area high, to be honest, but I didn't. And I should have reacted when we actually lost the market structure, which was confirming a much stronger rejection. That was my bad. And yeah, it's something that I will take away. And again, we're not all perfect. Losses are part of the game, right? So just as I took this long loss today, it really is not a worry, right? The worry would be if you get into a losing position and you're just holding on for dear life. You're hoping for a bounce so you can get out break even. It's none of that. It's this is a professional game. We gotta remain focused. I'm already looking at the next trade setup, which I suppose right now I would like to see a new low. And again, it's just having the openness to updating that bias, being humble enough to admit where you're wrong. Okay, and this is where, what I refer to being humble about this is, if you're in the long trade and then you're now underwater and you're unable to admit you're wrong. Oh no, I'm still bullish. I'm still looking for, we've got to update our bias with new data. I'd be a very bad trader if I was still holding on to my long, and that's where you could say, well, you suck. Okay, but just taking the loss the way I've took it, I hope that you have enjoyed the walkthrough of this. I hope that you maybe have learned something alongside it too. There's a few things that I would say to take away. First of all, don't ever underestimate the value areas. They are strong, to be honest. And also the importance of hedging, right? I am in a nice position when I have those longs while these shorts simultaneously. This is always the best position to be in. And, this is what gives me a big sense of, not rushing for the doors in terms of, I need to take a short trade instantly. But, have that peace of mind. And this is why I will always love to be in these short trades, especially on Bitcoin, which is, as I've said many times, Bitcoin is the biggest bearish bullish asset in the world. It is long-term bullish, but locally, man, Bitcoin loves to get these massive drops to the downside. So I'm always very keen on shorting Bitcoin, which is why I could have reacted quicker as we lost the market structure off that value area high. But yeah, overall, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I will always hold myself to the high level of integrity, honesty, and transparency. So the next time I take a loss, you will of course be aware of that. I'm never one to shy away and hide that. And yeah, if you have enjoyed this, you know where you can get where you can catch us for live trading streams, where you will see us take wins, you will see us take losses. We have live trading. Yesterday, Severin actually in his live trading stream profiting over $4,500. So yeah, if you want to see live trading, right, in terms of taking the trade, taking the wins, taking the losses, of course, there's no way you can hide these things in live trading, and that's why we do it. Yeah, if you want to see that, if you want to see, of course, this was one losing trade, but generally taking a lot more winners, right? If you want to know what we're looking for next, to walk through, and of course, the whole education, you can get that at chartchampions.com. Anyway, I hope you've learned this video. Thank you ever so much, and I will catch you in another one. Cheers, thank you, and goodbye.